My older brother, he was 18 at the time. He was, I don't know if he wanted to help me, but I think my mom made him help me with my homework. Then Miss Watkins, we had homework every night, and I was expected to do it, just like every other child in the class. So we were learning geography, and he was trying to teach me latitude, longitude, different terms, and he was helping me in Spanish. But I had a quiz the next day in English. So I just started to cry and got frustrated, and I said, I cannot learn this in Spanish because it's not going to do me any good, because my quiz tomorrow is in English. And it really hit my brother and made him realize I have to help her in English. So from then on, whenever I had an assignment I didn't know how to do, he would help me in English. Even if he was doing the basic explanation in Spanish, when he used the vocab words or the big concepts, he would use English. Any child, regardless of where they live, goes through a bit of a hard time being accepted. But I think it's harder for a child who does not know how to express those feelings because of a language barrier. For me, I feel that I had a lot of support. And in my early years of elementary school, 4th and 5th grade, when I had Miss Watkins, I think that really solidified for me what a good supportive teacher does and is. And as I grew older and learned English better and felt more comfortable with just speaking it and doing things, I realized the importance that she had early on in my life of helping me, not treating me differently because I could not understand, and always finding a way to help me understand, whether it was to get the help of another student or to just use the simplest words that she knew, that I knew, to explain something. So I always felt accepted, even though I couldn't communicate my fears to my teacher. But I think she knew my fears. I think just the big eyes, scared look on my face could just tell. I think for ELL students, I think having patience is the key. I remember Ms. Watkins always spoke slower to me, at first especially. Never used big words. Try to simplify things for me if I had a question. She never laughed if I said something funny, that sounded funny, or said something wrong. And I think that's what helped me get through that fear that everybody has. Patience, and I think, patience, number one thing. Reaching out to the parents, I think it's important too. Oftentimes, ELL kids, their parents don't always speak English. But even if there's that communication barrier, I think reaching out to the parents and showing them that you care about their child and their progress, I think is important. And I think the parent, in a way, can also be a support system for the teacher, in maybe with the help of an interpreter, or if the parent speaks decent English and can express those feelings, helping their child communicate with their teacher about concerns they may have, or things they are noticing in their child that may be affecting them in school and in their progress of being in ELL and eventually getting out of it because they've mastered English. So I think just a teamwork effort is the best thing teachers can do. I think my big success was knowing that I had people that believed in me. Not just my parents or my brother, but my teachers. I think that it's important for teachers to have faith in every student, regardless of where they come from, regardless of how many languages they speak, regardless of their learning abilities. And I think that is the most crucial thing. And for me, it was knowing that if I did this, I got to stay. And my teacher never cut me any slack. She expected the same amount of work as she did from everybody else. But I also knew that if I needed help, I needed to speak up. And I wasn't afraid of that because I knew that they were supportive one way or the other. So I think just having faith in your students is the number one thing that teachers should know. In May of 2009, I will graduate with my master's in social work from KU, and I hope to work with families, children and families. I think that being bilingual is something that makes me stand out, and I think that as a social worker I can help a lot more people than I would if I didn't speak Spanish. My husband is a first lieutenant in the U.S. Army. He and I went to high school together at Robinson Secondary in Fairfax, Virginia. And he just returned from a 15-month deployment in Iraq. And he's very adamant of learning Spanish. And if we have children someday, making sure that they're bilingual and that they carry on a lot of the Peruvian traditions that my family and I still carry on, and making sure that our children grow up in two cultures. I'm very happy that he sees the benefit of growing up with two cultures and being immersed in two cultures, but also knowing two languages and the benefit that, especially now in our society, the benefit that that has.